It's a JPU Records Podcast with kick-ass music from Japan.
Hello friends, welcome back to the JPU Records radio show. This episode is an unusual one. We spend the whole time speaking to the organisers of the first international Japanese metal festival. We hope you enjoy it. Let's get dug in. It's day 2 of Metal Matsuri and I'm here with Dave, one of the organisers. How's it going, Dave?
It's going awesome.
So you are one of the 2 organisers of Orion?
Yes, correct, yeah.
And how did you guys how do you describe the company first of all for people listening? Like, what is Orion? What is Metal Matsuri?
Okay, so Orion Live started to promote Japanese music in the UK, and Metal Matsuri was the brainchild of my business partner Chris, who wanted to bring some bands over from Japan who may not have performed or have performed very limitedly over in the UK. Yeah. So it was a real showcase of some like awesome metal, so this is it. Yeah, we're here and it's going on.
How did you get involved in Japanese music? I mean, I can see on your arm there's a Mutant Monster tattoo and NoFX and
yeah, so I've listened to a lot of metal and punk throughout my life. I was basically, I think the only Japanese band I'd ever heard of 3 or 4 years ago was High Standard.
Oh, proper hunk.
So love them. But I was actually at work and watching YouTube, so
get lots of work done.
Yeah. It was Christmas. It was very quiet, and I stumbled across the "Gimme Chocolate" video by Babe Metal.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, this is manufactured, which goes against my punk ethos, but I love the sound of it, and it just hooked me straight away. So that same day, got the Babe Metal's first album.
Yeah.
Loved it, and was watching all the videos on YouTube, and then got linked to bands like Bandmade, and it just opened a wormhole basically. There was Lady Baby after that, and then it was just a sudden realisation that there's a hell of a lot of great music going on that's really exciting, and it was missing from my life. So
yeah,
that's where it all started. I also discovered Scandal via YouTube, and went and saw them in London. I saw Baby Metal in London at Wembley, and during this time I met Chris.
At the shows you met him?
Yeah, met him at the shows. Went to see X Japan as well. Nice. At Wembley, and that's when me and Chris sort of started talking about this, because that was an epic show.
It was good, and
the fans were awesome, and that they always have been and continue to be. That was kind of like the start of it, and me and Chris really kind of clicked as really good mates. And then an opportunity came along for putting a band on. So Mutant Monster, who's also obviously a great punk band, and Chris isn't a massive punk fan, but he loves Mutant Monster as well. I think he appreciates their work ethic and loves the music.
Well, he's one of the reasons why Mutant Monster is signed to JPU. He sent me a message. He was like, check out this band, they're really keen to do something. So because of him, Mutant Monster is now got UK label and been releasing CDs here.
And I to be honest, Mutant Monster I absolutely adore. I've seen them quite a lot of times. It's in double figures, both in the UK and in Japan. So they're a special band for me and Chris. They toured their first tour in the UK with Touch My Secret. I was really into that band as well. Unfortunately, they've gone separate ways now. But they're split up. I think the bass player stopped performing basically. So I know that the others are still, involved in music, but Touch My Secret is no more.
Right.
However, there was a huge fan of Touch My Secret who wanted to put on a little tour in the UK and have them over for his birthday. So he gave us a huge chunk of money, and that's where me and Chris basically cut our teeth. We organised a tour, we sorted all the logistics, got everything done. It went really well. It's a success, and we really got the bug for it and decided to really take it seriously and move it up. Since then we've done numerous idol shows around the UK, all been fantastically received by people.
So that actually, don't mind me stopping you there about the idols. It's quite I think idol bands, people have this misconception about them. You saying you come from when you first saw Baby Metal, you wasn't too keen perhaps because you thought they were manufactured. Like, what's your opinion on idols? Do you think are they manufactured? Are they kind of pop things? I don't think so. I think my personal view is a lot of the producers behind it, they're in big bands normally, and they're secretly writing this stuff because it's like a alternative for what they can't do on stage under their own name. So I see it as like a secret project kind of thing. But I don't know. How do you see it?
I see them as incredibly talented and extremely hard-working musicians. They might not be playing guitar, some of them do, but they're on the stage, they're dancing as well as anybody, and they're managing to sing at the same time, and that to me is incredible because most of us can't even just sing standing still. They are incredible, and having worked with them, I gained so much respect for them. And a lot of the artists that we work with, some have producers, but some are totally, self-produced and doing their own thing. And to me, that is more punk than anything. So and a lot of these idols that we've worked with, we haven't limited ourselves, but a lot of them are kind of like rock-based acts. So you've got a bit of metal, bit of alternative stuff going on, which obviously we like. But we would, if something poppy came along, we wouldn't necessarily turn it down. So.
So for you, has there been one idol act, or it doesn't have to be idol act, that really stood out for you, that you were really surprised at the performance from, or shocked, or?
Personally, there's probably two for me. I thought Garuda, who toured with us recently, such a lovely, quiet person, and then on stage just turned into an absolute beast. She was incredible. Proper. I can't explain it. It was just the way the crowd reacted to what was basically industrial metal was fantastic, and she got a very creative outfit with plague mask and wings and everything. It was it was brutal, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And probably the other one for me is Double Hand. Saki, so hardworking and very independent.
I loved her last group, Gusso Drop.
Gusso Drop were incredible.
I wasn't an Idol fan, but just watching them live was just insane. It's so fun. And just chaos.
And I love that. So if I'm at a show, I love the chaos.
One of my friends in Japan actually had their tooth knocked out because of one of the members.
Whoa.
She had this baseball bat, and she was posing for like a checky, and like proper aggressively hit him with a baseball bat, and his tooth just flew out. And he was happy about it. He was like,
I must admit, with Garuda, she started poking me with her baseball bat with the spikes in it, and it's just an exciting scene generally. It's not boring. I mean, obviously we had Hanako-san over here throwing food at everyone, and she was really well received, I just love those kind of acts where you don't know what's going to happen next, and it's a little bit scary.
I'd kind of ignored idol stuff for a long time. So again, like you, I thought it's all manufactured, it's all going to be pop and dull. And then a Japanese friend took me to an underground show, and she was one of them. And I remember coming in, I think it was her anyway. She was on stage just covering herself in spaghetti bolognese, and I was like, what? And then Gusto Drop was straight after just smashing people with hammers and baseball bats. And I was like, whoa, this is not what I thought Idol was.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a punk show. It is punk.
It is punk, and I wouldn't have discovered it without that initial baby metal moment. So I'm still a huge fan of baby metal. I'll be seeing them next year.
Yeah.
But also, the other band that we've actually done 2 tours with is Necronomidal.
Yes.
And they are just awesome. I love working with them. They're super nice people. They're really artistic, incredibly talented. Again, really hardworking. We sold out a show in Venice, and it was about 300 degrees in there.
Wow. In Scotland, wow.
Yeah, it was in Scotland, but there was no aircon, and it was the venue was incredibly hot, and they got through what was, to me, almost impossible. But it was a small room, insulated for sound reasons for the neighbours, but unfortunately their aircon was non-existent. So it was a challenge, but they still work their way through it. They have great songs. Ricky, their producer, is super nice and talented. So
Do you have a song from them you'd recommend that we can play next?
I can never pronounce it though. Ithaqua or Itaqua. Okay. But that's a great tune.
That's coming up next.
It's the JPU Records Radio Show. Kick-ass music from Japan.
Metal Matsuri, day 2.
Yeah.
What has been your highlight so far?
I would love to say one act was better than the other, but to be honest, everyone has been different.
Yeah.
All 5 acts on day 1 have offered something, and all 5 acts have, I've spoke to people outside after the show, and everybody loved it. Zoroski was a great start to the festival. I kind of I was so nervous. Obviously, you know, we've worked on this for 18 months, and you know, it's kind of terrifying.
It's a lot of bands. How many bands in total playing?
10 bands altogether.
All from Japan.
All from Japan.
All flew in for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And all in one hotel. So yeah, it's been intense. But I think Mary's Blood utterly owned it at the end. Absolutely fantastic. It was the first time I've personally seen them.
And the Queen cover as well was very nice.
Queen cover, it was just perfect. It was on Saki's birthday as well. It was just a joy to watch the crowd.
Yeah, it's very special.
Mardelis, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Probably my favourite band at the moment, personally. So
the new album's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely love it. So I really enjoyed their show.
Nice. Are you involved in the booking too? Like, did you have much influence on the bands on the lineup?
Chris is the main man in Japan. He speaks Japanese.
Yeah.
For me, it was more around. He would come to me with a band and ask, you know, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And if I didn't know the band, I'd check them out. And Chris has got a good taste. So you know, it was pretty easy. But there's certain bands. I mean, like today we've got ISN opening, so it'll be kind of relatively chill compared to the next 4 bands, which is literally just bands that are just going to rip people's faces off.
Can't wait for Bloodstained Child.
Bloodstained
really
Child, incredible. We've got Fake Gear, Friday Air, and then finish it off Unlucky Morpheus. I mean, it's
should be good fun.
Yeah, I'll be handing out lots of water today.
You're gonna need it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the whole thing has just been fantastic from start to finish. We couldn't have asked for more from the artists, from the fans. It's been really well supported. And also, I have to mention Lady Beard.
Oh yeah, our host.
Yeah, our host. He did a DJ set at our VIP party, and everyone went crazy. We had some bands on the stage who just were singing and all sorts. It was proper carnage. That was punk rock. So I got big thanks to him for coming along and being our MC, getting everyone hyped for it. So yeah, absolutely love it.
And what's been for you putting on the event? What's been the biggest kind of I wouldn't say trouble, but has there been any kind of...
Yeah, we had the VIP event was going to be held at a different location.
Last minute it changed.
Yeah,
right?
they unfortunately they changed management and changed their pricing policy, which meant that it wasn't feasible. So we had to find an alternate, and we held it at O'Neill's near Leicester Square.
The room was
better.
I think so.
The price was better. So yeah, it worked really well for us, and the way. It was actually panned out. We had all the bands spread around the room. We got their own sort of merchandise tables. Everyone had a poster, so everyone was getting those signed, and everybody loved it.
Yeah,
it was a really, really brilliant event, and it sold out, and we were really happy with that. So the venue change. Obviously, we didn't want to change the venue, but sometimes you're forced into these things, and so it's
and you handled it really quick. And
we had to. I've got a chap who helped me out massively, which is Paul Woodhead.
I know Paul.
So he was obviously he's based in London. He knows the area and the venues really well. And I couldn't have done it without him. So he deserves big pat on the back for that. And the other things that happen, we have whenever you're organising these tours, you have like best laid plans, and then things do go wrong. We lost all our transport the day everyone's flying in. So we'd organised a coach company to get a large proportion of the people who were flying in all on one flight. I think it was like 6 bands, so I hired a coach, and they came through and have provided vehicles for the whole of the festival and getting them back after we'd arranged that, and that had all, unfortunately, we'd been let down. So
day before as well. That's crazy.
So all done. We're happy, yeah, and so there's been a few stressful moments, but it's just a case of you deal with it and move on. So
I think that's what rock and roll is all about, right? You make the most of things going to go wrong, fix it up, get it done.
Yeah, I think if you go into this kind of business thinking all your plans are fine, you're kind of deluded.
It'll be trouble.
Yeah, it's hard work, really hard work, but the reward of seeing 400 people going crazy for me is everything.
That's it. Oh, nice. So before we end, I'd like to ask what you listen to at the moment. Is there a particular track you'd recommend, and we'll play that after this?
My favourite song at the moment is Red Line by Mardellis.
Nice. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Cheers,
Great
Dave.
stuff. Cheers.
没次跟我是比
It's a JPU Records Radio Kick-Ass Music from Japan.
Okay, so I'm joined with Chris from Orion Live. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, Tom. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. This show was, fantastic, first of all. I was, of course, our band Mary's Blood was there, and I wasn't too sure how it was going to go down, but afterwards, it was just impressive. The fans were amazing. The schedule, I was expecting delays. Working with Japanese bands, there's always problems with sound checks, this kind of stuff, but it seemed smooth. Everything from an outside point of view looked perfect. How did it feel for you to get it all done and be finished?
I'm relieved because this has been like an all-encompassing thing in my life for probably the last year, but really over the last like 4 to 6 weeks. As things were ramping up, and I was very cognizant of the clock come event time. So the fact that we got everybody sound checked and we got everybody switched over so quickly and so efficiently is a testament to how good the people we're working with were. I'm sure the bands are going to have some gripes about maybe monitors and how they sounded. You know, they always will. But we managed to do it. We pulled it off on schedule, and it was. So right now, my feeling is relief, to kind of sum it all up.
Yeah, man. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What's your involvement with Orion? Is your creation?
Yeah. Orion Live is me and my business partner, David Beatty.
Yeah.
And we're business partners. We decided to start this company back in I think the thought for it was 2016. And then the actual company got started in 2017, where Dave and I we were fans in the Japanese music community here in the UK, and we ended up becoming friends with a few artists, and then a lot of people asking us how they can come over and play, and how, you know, what contacts do we have, what could we possibly do, and we just wanted to help them. So what ended up happening is Dave and I became really good mates really around the time that Mutant Monster and Touch My Secret toured in 2016. And I ended up becoming very friendly with Mutant Monster and Touch My Secret. And there are some things about the tour that we thought maybe could be done better. Not that we thought that we could do it better, it's just maybe there's something we could help with. So as time went on, someone put together the money to bring Touch My Secret back, and then said, "Hey, Chris, you're friends with them. Can you help me with this?" And then that turned into, "Can you help me with that? Can you help me with that and that and that?" Before we knew it, we were doing backline accommodation, transportation, and it became tour management by accident. And we realized that we could offer something. So that's really when Orion Live became a real thing.
Oh man, it's kind of the same story with me. Things just kept growing. I started off as just interviewing people like we're doing now, and then the bands would be like, "Can you do this for us? Then can you do that?" And it just kept growing, and it's weird how this happens, right? You don't plan it; it just kind of falls into place. People need you, and So Orion Live, where did the name come from? It's kind of an interesting one.
It seems on the surface kind of boring. It's not based on the Japanese beer.
Okay,
I'll just say that.
Orion?
No, well, kind of. There's a slight connection there. To make a long story short, Dave and I were looking for a name. And we were already in the process of putting together the Touch My Secret tour. And I was in Japan, and I was in Ise, Japan, which is where Mutant Monster's from. And I went to see them at their hometown gig that year. And they have a song called Orion. And the song is about how they want to shine really brightly and be seen from outside of Japan. And in a weird sort of karmic way, I was walking back to my hotel, and I don't know if you've ever been to Ise, but it's countryside, right? So walking back from the venue to my hotel, I was going through a residential area. So the sky was pitch black, there was no light pollution, and Orion was perfectly visible. And I had Mutant Monster on my phone, listening on the way back. And I texted Dave, and I'm like, "That's the name. That's what we're trying to do. It's connected to the Mutant Monster song, and let's roll with it." And we did, and it stuck.
That's really cool. I had no idea. Especially Mutant Monster was the connection to it.
Yeah. Mutant Monster was the band on that tour, Touch My Secret, where Dave and I became good friends and decided we wanted to help. So.
Touch My Secret tattoo as well.
I do have a Touch My Secret tattoo. First tour we ever did, and one of my favorite bands at the time. I'm really sorry they didn't stick with it. But yeah, so that's really important to me. Dave and I both have Touch My Secret tattoos.
Oh, does he? I saw his Mutant Monster one. I didn't see the...
Yeah, I've got Mutant Monster on this arm.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've got Mutant Monster Family on my right upper arm, and then I've got a design from one of their early T-shirts down on my bicep, which I surprised them with on that tour.
I've never seen that logo before.
Yeah, this was my favorite T-shirt of theirs in 2015.
Yeah,
and then they didn't have it in 2016. They didn't have it on tour with them, but I had I actually had a photo of it from when I saw them in Japan before.
Yeah,
and I thought that's just a tattoo waiting to happen. So I had it done the day of their show at the Underworld in Camden, and then I was gonna make a presentation out of it, but Mina saw the wrap around it, and she pulled it up, and then the girls freaked out.
So. Yeah, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
And just so the people listening, this is like a M shape, but it's a bat, not like Batman bat. It's kind of like a
cute bat.
Yeah,
kind of a kawaii bat.
If you've seen the Mutant Monster logo, the cat has these eyes. It's kind of the bat with those kind of big eyes. But yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, thank you. So they were really pleased with that. We bonded a bit over this. I think I was the first guy to ever have a Mutant Monster tattoo.
I think so too. You and Dave, I've never seen Mutant Monster tattoos before until you guys.
Yeah, he's got one. He's got the cat, the cat on his arm. Yeah.
Very cool. So with Metal Matsuri, how did the band lineup come? Did you decide it? Was it people asking to come and play? Was it you chasing them to come and play?
It was all by invitation except for one. The one who came to us was Fate Gear.
Okay, yeah.
Once word got around that this event was happening, they really wanted on it because they couldn't do the UK on their previous European tour.
That's right, yeah.
But every other artist was by invitation, and it started with Dave and I debating how many bands do we want? Do we want 12? And I'm so glad we didn't do that.
10 was ambitious as it was.
10 was ambitious, and to be honest, if anything like this ever happens again, maybe 8. For lots of different reasons. But when I had the idea for the fest in August of 2018, and I came to Dave with it, and we started talking about it, we thought, let's float the idea.
Yeah.
Because if we have bands who say, yeah, I would be interested, or yeah, that would be cool, just this kind of soft yes.
Yeah.
If they thought it was a good idea, then we've got something to work with, and it goes from being an idea to being a real thing. And the first person I asked was actually Ria, aka Suzuka.
All right.
Because she was performing in London.
Yeah.
She was with Esprit d'Air.
That's right. Yes.
And I just kind of we met, and I just said, hey, so I just wondered if we did like a festival, like an all Japanese metal event, would you be interested? And she just said, yeah. Here's the card for my management. So I got in touch with her, and I got in touch with the record label.
Yeah.
And she was the first one to come on board. And then we did these rounds of invitations.
Okay.
My goal was to get Unlucky Morpheus and Mary's Blood as headliners.
Perfect then.
Yeah, and Mary's Blood I was scared to death to ask because they're my favorite band. So if they said no, I was just going to be gutted. But Unlucky Morpheus had said yes, or at least a preliminary yes before the contracts were made. So I thought, well, if we have Unlucky Morpheus and we have Ria, and I think Mardalis at this time had already said that they'd be interested.
Yeah.
That gave me the confidence to go to Mary's, and then Mary said yes, and then from there it was relatively easy.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
There's some kind of synergy there with how again JPU kind of started too. There's one band that I really wanted, it was my dream, was with Gazette.
Yeah.
It worked out that the first band ended up getting signed. It's just funny how it works out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember saying to Dave when we were doing our Touch My Secret tour, we were doing one of our events with idols. We've done a few Japanese idol events. It's like, maybe in 5 years I can work with Mary's Blood. That would be amazing. And I already had this sort of connection with Saki from Mary's Blood. We had met at a meet and greet event when I was just a fan in 2016, and she always remembered me when I'd show up, and we'd exchange messages on Twitter, and I had this feeling, was like, she's gonna think I'm just that goofy American fan with the tattoo and the beanie.
Yeah.
Because I got a Mary's Blood tattoo as well.
Yep.
2 actually. I got Mary's Blood on my right forearm, and I've got Saki's solo logo tattooed on my chest.
Whoa, that's proper metal.
Yeah. So I thought she'd think I was just some fan trying to put something together. I was really scared of taking that relationship to a professional level from just a fan level, but it happened so quickly, and I'm grateful for it. I really am, and I can't believe that it actually happened. I was brought to tears a little bit when Mary's took the stage. That was one hell of a moment.
It's the JPU Records Radio Show. Kick ass.
Music Japan.
Was there any bands for the next one, if there was a next one, that you're looking to bring over, or for now is this like dream lineup's been done, it's going to be difficult to kind of top it for you?
As early as maybe 6 months into the planning, we were already getting questions about if this was going to be like an annual event.
Yeah.
And the closer we got to it and the more work that was involved, even if it was going to be a home run, and it came pretty damn close. I think we hit a triple. If it's not a home run, it was a triple. It's so much work. It's such an undertaking, and it takes attention away from other tours, other acts, other things, because it becomes so all-encompassing. I don't know if there'll be another one. And that's not because this one wasn't successful. I mean, you get online right now, people are still glowing about.
The photos still popping up on my feed all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think this event was really ambitious for a company of our size.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And behind the scenes, that brought up a lot of complications. You know, as we kind of learned to handle these growing pains. Even though on stage and to the crowd everything looks smooth, which is the way you want it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to go through that again. I don't know if it's worth it when we have this great family of artists who want to work with Orion and do their own thing, and we want to accommodate them to the best of our ability, and it just might be a bit too much. But that being said, we have been contacted by artists. I have been in contact with artists that I would have wanted.
Yeah.
Including one or two that I wanted this year that couldn't because of some like scheduling conflict or something like that. So if it were to happen again, I have a vague idea who's going to be there.
Yeah.
And maybe even a band or two returning if they wanted to, but certainly probably not the headliners.
Yeah.
There are other groups, There are other groups that might want to come back. So right now that's I can't say 50-50. I'll just say we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not being coy.
Right.
Yeah, this really kicked our ass.
So with hindsight, if you could go back and do Metal Matsuri again, with knowing what you know now and how it's done, what would you change? Would there be any changes?
Yeah, there would be changes. I would have gone back and arranged from a very early stage, I would have arranged a much more experienced tech crew.
Right.
Because we were let down by some people. We had to fill in some spots pretty quickly, and we did so really well to the best of our ability, but we could have done better with maybe making plans further in advance, and I mean like 6-9 months in advance.
Right.
Yeah. So that I would have done differently. To be honest, I loved every artist that came, and everyone kicked ass from the opening groups. There's an interesting story behind both of those as well, all the way to the headliners, and everything ran on time. Fans loved it. But I think maybe 8 groups would have been more manageable.
Yeah.
Financially and logistically, and then with things like sound check. If you just had one less group, maybe the sound checks would have been better, and the groups would have been happier with that. So I think that might be it, because everything else really worked.
Yeah. I think don't beat yourself up too much about the sound check stuff. I've been doing this for like a long time. One band I interviewed years ago, they were playing the Garage in the headline show there, and the guitarist couldn't join the interview because she was crying too much. The sound for them, they hated it. The whole process, they couldn't get anything right. The equipment kept blowing up. So
we had that too.
I saw Bloodstained Child.
Bloodstained Child. We love those guys.
Same.
Yeah.
That was one of my big highlights for the whole event, just to see them.
And they ended up. I don't want to say they stole the show, but they came pretty damn close, because they had they had 400 people jumping up and down in that room when people weren't sure what to expect.
Yes.
They owned it, and it was a disaster. through sound check. But they're our brothers. We worked through it, and they ended up putting on one of the highlights of the whole weekend. Absolutely. But the thing about sound checks and stuff is that, being a former musician myself, and I've toured and dealt with sound crews and tech crews and event crews and people that speak different languages, and communication has a problem. I have sympathy for all of it. I know that musicians are they're just impossible to please 100% of the time, especially when especially when you take them out of their cultural context. And Japan has a very unique cultural context for music. It's not like a British band going to America or vice versa. It's a different world. Business is a different world. The live house scene is a different world. You can't even draw comparisons to clubs. It's run differently. It feels differently. The crews are different. And so you have to try your best to make them feel comfortable in a very different environment. That's damn near impossible. But at the same time, we want to strive to be as perfect as we can to help them out and give them the best show they can. And if there's any of the groups, and I'm sure there's a member of every group who would likely say, oh no, this was bad, that was bad, that was bad, except the energy of the show itself. But when you talk to the fans, they were just going nuts.
What was your highlight of the whole weekend?
Of the whole weekend? Including the VIP pre-party? Or what happens at the pre-party stays at the pre-party? Wow, I've got 4, and I can't really decide between them.
Okay.
I cried when Mary's took the stage. So that was a highlight. During the VIP pre-party, Lady Beard was doing a mix of songs from every artist that was going to be performing, and he gets to Unlucky Morpheus. Unlucky Morpheus gets on stage and pumps the crowd up. Fruki grabs his mic and starts singing with the track. So we got an impromptu Fruki Lady Beard.
That's awesome.
Which was crazy. And then Lady Beard picked up one of the other members and spun him around like a wrestler. It was that was just impromptu. Fun and amazing. The other would be when Mardelis took the stage, because I'd worked on that for a long time, and I'd become really close with Marina and her manager Shion. And just to finally see that moment happen was great. And then the fourth was when ISN took the stage. IA 1000 and Double R.
She was one of my highlights too. I had no expectations.
I'm so happy. That makes me feel great because I gave that position to her because I believe in her. I like her. I think she deserves it, and she took that opportunity and she owned it.
Absolutely,
and she nailed it and won so many new fans. Because there were some people before the event who thought that she didn't belong. Maybe she was a little soft, But the opening acts were chosen because I thought they deserved it, and because I had such extensive experience seeing, particularly ISN live. I knew that she'd fit in. So gave her a shot. She owned it, and she hit a home run with her set. And that would be So those would be my four moments. I think.
Nice. ASN was. I think there's a few bands on the Metal Matsuri lineup where I saw them, and I feel bad for saying it when I instantly judged them and Lipstick and a few others. It's a bit like
Lipstick.
This is going to be so. I was kind of shocked that you'd put so much effort to bring in like this band over other bands that were available, and then when I saw them, I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. They were ace. And Aya as well was fantastic.
Lipstick was another band that I knew was going to be a bit of a risk, but they picked up a bit of social media traction once. Some people who went to Japan and saw them and loved them came back and raved about it. So I'd see some tweets, and I was like, okay, well, I've seen them live like a few times. I actually met ISN at Lipstick live. So I thought, okay, there's something there, and I think they would be really good as a second act. And the people that already love them are going to love them more, and the people that don't love them are going to love them. I was really confident.
So your involvement with Japanese music, what made you, first of all, start paying attention to Japan or its music? You lived there too, right? Or
No, not technically.
right?
No. The last few years, I've ended up spending more time in Japan than any other place, so it feels like home.
Every time I seem to contact you, you seem to be in Japan.
Like, sorry, Tom, I'm in Japan. Yeah. Or even when like Orion was first getting started, I remember contacting you about Touch My Secret, which turned into my getting you in touch with Mutant Monster.
That's right. Yeah.
Even then, I was in Japan. I was like, oh, don't worry, I'm in Japan. Let me have a talk with him. It's like, oh, I can't get together. I'm in Japan. But what happened was, I'm a lifelong metalhead. Yeah. And I was living in London in 2013. I was doing a master's degree in European language, culture, and history, with a specialty in Scandinavian studies.
Oh, okay.
And I was writing my dissertation on cultural identity in Norwegian black metal. Yeah, but I was bored out of my mind by the subject. I discovered it was kind of overly explored and just, I was like, we're so sick of Scandinavians. I speak Norwegian and I'm just bored by it. But my interest in Norway didn't come about until I got into Scandinavian metal in the 1990s.
Yeah.
But I was bored by it, and I was finishing up that degree, and a friend of mine from the United States sent me an email. And this is the moment it happened. He sent me an email, so this is late 2013. I'm sitting in my horrible studio somewhere up in Willesden Green, and I'm working on my dissertation, and I get this message, and it says, here's a thing you might want to know is a thing. It's like, okay, and I clicked on it, and it was Gimme Chocolate.
Nice.
From Baby Metal. And I was like, what the hell? Wow, that's... And like so many other people, I fell down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then the recommended YouTube videos. And then early 2014, that first Baby Metal record came out.
Yeah.
And I just lost it. This is the greatest thing ever. I flew to Paris to see Baby Metal in 2014 perform their, I think it was their first show outside of Asia. It was in Paris, the first show of the first world tour.
Yeah.
And I left that show thinking that is the greatest thing I've ever seen. That was my love affair with Japan. And it was 2015, January of 2015, I went to Japan for the first time.
Yeah.
Baby Metal was performing at Sayatama Super Arena for a New Year's Fox Fest or whatever they called it. And I was actually back in America, and I just thought, I have to go. I don't know how much it costs. I don't care where I get the money. I'm gonna go. And I flew to Japan for a weekend.
Yeah.
From the west coast of the United States. 3 days. Just to see that show.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and I saw it. My seat was like the very last row that I bought for like 3 times face value somehow.
Yeah.
And it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Fell in love with it, and I took it from there.
So last question, what are you listening to at the moment?
What am I listening to at the moment? I've put a stop to the Metal Matsuri playlist at the moment. No disrespect to those amazing bands.
Yeah.
But right now I'm going backwards. I'm putting the Japanese music on hold, and I'm listening to a lot of old Kiss right now.
Nice, get back to the roots.
Yeah, I'm going back to the era of Kiss that means the most to me, which is the 80s non-makeup era.
All right.
And Shion, manager of Marina from Marvelous, he and I became really good friends over Kiss because we're both Kiss nerds. So we're always talking about Kiss. So I thought, now I want to listen to that album. Now I want to listen to the other one. So so I'm listening to a lot of old Kiss at the moment.
Oh, nice. And any Japanese stuff, not so much at the moment?
That's only because I feel a bit overloaded. Yeah.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. But if I were to choose, the new Mary's Blood album, which of course I kind of I had to listen to, obviously. Yeah. And the new EP from Mardelis Grimes.
That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's an absolutely excellent album.
That blew me away.
Yeah, those two are on rotation. Yeah.
Great. All right, thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Hopefully see you next time on tour.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. We hope you enjoyed that. It was quite interesting, especially to see how Baby Metal has had such an impact on 2 individuals who would then go on to create one of the biggest events of its kind outside of Japan. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back next week with a regular show with all the news, all the tunes happening from Japan right now. Take care, guys.
It's the JPU Records Podcast with Kick-Ass.